Number better selection culture. Oh, can you shy be labon? Boo busy way Africa, and we're singing the same song. Abuko Mali, Asuna Mali, Asuni Mali, Sonobom Nandi, Abuko Nandi, Asina Nandi, Asunbom Nandi, Sivono Tano. Bomingo bako selifikili xesha kusanzisa igqibo sokuphila ububizi we Africa. The same song we all sing. Abuko Mali, Asina Mali, Asuni Mali, Swonobo Nandi, Abuko Nandi, Asina Nandi, Asuno Nandi, Sivuno Tando.
Scenes of the mother city, Ekapa Matota, to the sounds of a freshly ground. And that brings us to this particular interview. Now, let me give you an introduction. At the International Design Alliance in the city of Taipei in Taiwan on the 26th of October 2013, Cape Town, also known as the mother city, was announced as the World Design Capital for the year 2014, beating 52 other countries or cities, I should say, from 24 countries around the world, using the theme Live Design, Transform Life. The Cape Town Design Network secured the title for the country's second most populous city, making South Africa the first African country to host the project. So it's quite a big deal. Joining us now from one of the mother city's CBD street corners is architect Mokena Makeka, who is one of the bid committee members and is a spokesperson of the project. A very good morning to you. A beautiful morning, it seems, there in Cape Town.
Well, good morning to you, Ayanda, and good morning to all the listeners. Cape Town is fantastic.
It's quite a big deal, isn't it? What does this accolade mean to the city of Cape Town and South Africa as a whole?
Well, it's an amazing opportunity for civil society and designers to really begin to show government and the public what we can do to transform people's lives. And I think for a long time we've suffered underneath a country where design has been used to oppress people. If we think of the way that the apartheid city works, if we think of our lack of infrastructure for many of our citizens, this is an amazing opportunity to not only show how furniture and fashion and jewelry can bring joy to our lives, but that we can also make lives far much more improved in terms of access to public transport, access to public spaces, and making a better society for all. So it's really about changing how we see ourselves and how we interact with each other.
You're right, because commonly one would perceive design or art as something that's just for aesthetics, but there's a purpose to it as well. Talk us through the theme that Live Design, Transform Life.
Well, I think aesthetics are very important to design, because without aesthetics and without the user interface, as we call it, the world around it just becomes gritty objects that are quite difficult to engage with. But I think it's important to recognize that design is not only aesthetics. It's about how things work. It's about how they operate. It's about how we experience the city. And that could be from a cell phone to an app to getting into your car to how your kitchen works. Design actually makes the ordinary, tough aspects of life livable and enjoyable. And that's what designers do. We try and make a better life for people.
There's always a healthy competition between us people from Joburg and Cape Townians. I think it's a little bit of a sibling rivalry, if I can call it that. So I want to know what it is about Cape Town that makes it so deserving of this title.
Well, let me first start by saying that I don't believe in the rivalry between Joburg or Cape Town or Durban, for that matter. I'm an Africanist and a South African, so I believe in all of us getting along. But I will say that I think what Cape Town does offer is that because of its environment, it's able to attract designers who are wanting to be inspired by the setting And I think Joburg manages to attract designers who are attracted to the capital and the ability to make decisions quickly. So on the one hand, Cape Town might seem to have more designers, but I think decisions get made much quicker in the financial hub of the country. The challenge we have as a nation is to make sure that there isn't a rivalry between these or any other cities, but that we all benefit from it. So a designer in Cape Town can practice in Johannesburg, somebody in Johannesburg can experience Cape Town, because we really need to break this paradigm of a divided country, divided cities, and in some respects a sort of apartheid narrative of separation. So I'm an Africanist through and through. I think we're all winning because of World Design Capital.
Indeed, I'll agree to disagree with you on that for a moment, but I think that is the beauty of living in South Africa. We're all so varied, and it's so lovely indeed to share in the excitement that is what we've received as not only the country but the continent. It's the first in the continent, I believe, to host this event as the Design City. But let's talk about those who were bidding as well, those who lost out, who didn't make it there in Taipei. Can we talk about the competition?
Could you just repeat the last question?
Yeah,
there's a lot of traffic over
I know
here.
I'm competing with the waves as well. I wanted to find out from you, those who were also competing to win this title in 2014. Could you tell us a bit about their bids?
Well, I think one of the interesting things about Cape Town in South Africa is that it has attributes of the first world. You know, we have access to the West, the United States, other sorts of Western markets. But at the same time, we have what we call third world challenges in terms of housing, sanitation, etc. And designers who want to be influential in the world of the future need to understand that the growing economies and where population is going to be exploding is no longer in the West, but it's in Brazil, it's in India, it's in Indonesia, it's in China. And the type of demand for designers in those areas are very different to the sort of traditional Western notion of design. So Cape Town offers an opportunity for a meeting of these worlds, for us to understand what does it mean to provide a cell phone in Kenya, what does it mean to provide public transport in Kinshasa, but at the same time saying how do you also have the sort of aspects of a so-called modern, contemporary and sort of Western city, which in many respects I think Cape Town does have some of those features. So what made us stand out, I believe, was the fact that through South Africa and through the city in particular, one is able to access different cultures, different realities, different access to different resources in quite a short space. We're such a heterogeneous society as opposed to a homogeneous society that a designer can come here and can imagine Brazil, imagine New York, imagine China, imagine Australia, but in the same space and time. So it's a very efficient place for a designer to be in. And I think that's what made us stand out in terms of the other competition.
All right, we'll have to leave it there for now. I know you take your job very seriously, so I'll let you get back to it. You don't even want to play with any harmless banter about healthy competition, so let me let you get back to your work. My thanks again for joining us, and have yourself a fantastic day there in the mother city. Looking very lovely. I'm getting jealous all of a sudden, so let's cut that short immediately. That was architect Mokena Makeka talking to us about the mother city, Cape Town, being named the World Design Capital for the year 2014.